All right, welcome back, Fantasy Endgame community. I'm Pierre and he's Chris. We're here back again live to answer any questions you have about waiver wire pickups. Look, it's Tuesday evening. A lot of leagues run their waivers tonight, so you want to make sure you put in the right claims before they run. And also, look, a lot of you guys, you can just freely pick up wherever you go. That must be nice. But look, there's a lot of leagues that don't even have a waiver system. You can just pick up a free agent. A lot of guys, you can grab throughout the week. So whatever the case is, we're going to answer your question. It's the bottom line. Is we're here for you. So go ahead and fire away, just like we do every Saturday, where we talk about start sit advice. So we're here to answer those. Now, of course, we'll also do trade questions. We'll do anything that would help your fantasy team. That's why we're here. Now, before we get underway, because the questions are already starting to come in, let me remind you that you can become a patron, patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. Why would you do that? Well, on Saturday, we are on for a couple of hours answering as many questions as we can. And we just don't have time to get to all of them. But on Sunday morning, we have a private show just for patrons, and we answer all your questions. We spend time just with the patrons because that is our gift back to you. So you can do that. Of course, rankings, weekly rankings, which will be updated tonight. For week 3, you get the early edition of those. You get them updated throughout the week. So really let you know how we feel about those players. Updates on waiver wires in detail, and then also additional bonuses based on what level you pick. Now, also, we have a Discord where we can answer a ton of questions for you at any point, and you, of course, become part of the Endgame community, and we have a lot of very knowledgeable and helpful people in the Discord at all times. Of course, if you haven't already, you should subscribe and like this video and subscribe to our channel. So we're going to start answering these questions. Now, last thing is, this if you join us ever on our Start Sit shows. If you want to jump the line, just use that super chat feature. We will get to those immediately. We are going to try our best to get to all these questions, but guys, it's just more and more every week. So we're going to start at the beginning. But again, if we do use that super chat feature, that guarantees that we will get to your question as soon as possible. And a man who is very familiar with that is Tyler, always with us. What is up, Tyler? Glad to have you.
Yeah, glad to have you. Hey, real quick, some people are saying mic issues. Can you guys hear us okay? Give us put in the chat like yes or a thumbs up if you can hear us okay. Some people were saying mic issues.
Well, yeah, let me know, because I think, Chris, you could hear me okay. It looks like my mic level's all right, but... Testing 1 2.
Is that a yes? All good. Okay, cool. All right. Yes. All right, we can get to the questions now. Okay, all good. All
right. Also, give a shout out back to loyal Endgame member Ale, one of the sharpest drafters. This, always with us in the mock drafts. Good to have you here. But let's get to the actual questions. All right, Chris, I'm gonna let you pick first. Who you think we should talk about, guys? We'll do start sit questions also, but we want to try to get to waiver wire first because that's kind of our pressing issue.
Yeah.
Kind of tonight.
So waiver wire, waiver wire and trade. So here's a trade one, I think, from Luke. And I really regret not putting Aaron Jones on the sell high video today. I should have. But anyways, he has A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Should I get rid of them and try to get somebody else?
I mean, and this kind of goes to what we always talk about. It's like, when a guy has a monster game, it's not like you have to sell, just for the sake of selling, sell high. I mean, has Aaron Jones never had a big game before? Is this a fluke? Does he not have a steady role in that offense? I mean, you know what he is. He was like a 3rd-round pick for a reason. So, I mean, just because he had a huge game doesn't mean you have to sell him. Now, if you have both of those guys, I get why you want to sell one, because you don't want to be that tied to the Packers, and maybe you want to see if you can kind of, get some differentiation going. So, I mean, if you're going to trade one of them, look, okay, the first part of that is no, you don't have to get rid of them. They're both good running backs. You're going to get a lot of work. If you're going to sell one, it would be Aaron Jones, right? Yeah. Because coming off that monster game, he has probably a higher value, and you get more back in return for him.
Yeah, the reason I said I regret not putting Aaron Jones is not because he had a big game. It's because he had a big game, but he still only had 3 targets. Same with A.J. Dillon. And he had 15 carries, and A.J. Dillon had 18. So people are the reason I say it is because Aaron Jones is he's not going to play the Bears every week and go for 2 touchdowns and 120 plus yards. AJ Dillon is going to cap his upside, kind of like what I said about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's not going to score 3 touchdowns every week. We saw in week 1, it was like Kareem Hunt week. That's why I said I regret not putting him on there. You don't have to trade him. I think in your case, because you have both, if you're like Pierre said, you don't want to be all in on the Packers backfield, basically, as your RB1, RB2. I would be trying to trade Aaron Jones right now because he does have way more value at this point. And you could probably maybe go out and get somebody like Javonte, who maybe hasn't had great games so far, and maybe they're a little worried about the offense. Somebody like that who has plenty of upside. And now you're not all in on the Packers. So, yeah, you don't have to trade them, but I think, if you're going to trade one of them, it's got to be Aaron Jones.
Well, I think it's interesting because we've heard this from a couple of people too, and not maybe just the Packers, but a lot with that. Like, you have both the Packers running backs. Well, you drafted both the Packers running backs like that. You knew you were going to get that going in, so you thought that was a good idea. Now you're like, maybe not. So, I mean, yeah, I'm fine trading Aaron Jones, but you know what I mean. If you don't want both guys on the same team, draft day, you probably go a different direction. And that's what we said. Look, Aaron Jones is a fine pick, but you're going to get probably comparable value from AJ Dillon like 3 rounds later. So that's why we pretty much not avoided, but like we didn't draft a lot of Aaron Jones, probably respectively, and we were more in on Dillon.
Yes, true. All right, we do have a waiver wire question here from Cedric. Who do I pick up, Geno, Mariota, or Jimmy G?
I mean, I really didn't think I would be saying this before season. It's easily Mariota, but that's mainly because it's not the other two.
Yeah, and I assume I assume you lost Trey Lance. I'm going to assume that, or Dak or something. So you're in this tough spot where you don't have a QB. You're probably going to be picking up a QB every week and streaming QB. Mariota between those 3 has the best matchup. Jimmy G against Denver, no chance. Geno Smith, never. There's no matchup I'm starting Geno Smith. Mariota gets the Seahawks this week. I think it's got to be Mariota.
Yeah, some weeks you might go Jimmy G, right? But this week is a really just tough matchup for him. And Mariota always gives you that rushing upside. He can always run in a touchdown. Jimmy G will never run in a touchdown. I guarantee you Jimmy G will not be running.
No. All right, here's another trade question, an interesting one. Should I trade Najee for Saquon?
Well, what's your take on that? Because that's a guy that, I mean, you're hiring both those guys this year in the Matrix. If you guys know, of course, if you are a patron, then you know about the RB Matrix. Those are both guys that could be league winners. One had a huge week 1 and didn't do much week 2. One of them hasn't really done much and is kind of hurt, but Najee's your guy. So
I don't think Najee's hurt. Come on, he played 15 carries, 6 targets, 5 catches. Doesn't look like a guy who's hurt.
Kind of hurt.
To me, this is just like a lateral move. All it's going to take is for Najee to go out there on Thursday night and score 2 touchdowns, and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, Najee Harris. We just give up on players so soon, right? Guy has a huge game and he's like, oh my God, you have to start this guy every week. You can't bench this guy. Remember last year, JT was running back 11 through 5 weeks. Stephon Diggs was wide receiver 25 through five weeks. A lot is going to change. So to me, it's just a lateral move. I don't know. They're probably both going to be great. So I don't really have a strong feeling about this one. It's they're both in bad offenses. They both have bad offensive lines. They both have bad quarterbacks. What's the difference? Maybe you could say Saquon's a better talent. That's probably about it, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's very similar. I mean, there's hardly any difference between them, except Najee's a little bigger. Maybe Najee gets more touches, but Barkley's probably more efficient with his touches. So in the end, it's kind of a wash. So, I mean, the only reason you would do that move is because maybe you are worried about Najee's foot. But if he was really injured, like you said, he wouldn't have been out there all game, so whatever. I mean, I guess it's just pick your preference.
Yeah, exactly. That trade doesn't do a lot for me either way, to be honest. And then we got a super chat here from Luke. Thank you. Okay, he has Amon-Ra and Waddle. Do you think they'll repeat? Will they do what they did in week 2? Probably never again the rest of the season. Probably not. Those are once a season type of games, right? Come on, it's not maybe Amon-Ra could do what he did again because he only got 34 points, I think. But what did Waddle get? 40 something? Guys, there's only there's like less than 10 40-point games over the course of an entire season for all players. It's unlikely that anybody is going to do it twice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of a loaded question. Like, okay, so I'm on Raw, St. Brown. Of course, now he's got this streak of what is like 8 straight games where he has a certain amount of catches. And like, okay, I get it. He's going to keep it going. Like, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. Yeah. Is he ever going to have that type of game again? Yeah, it's possible. Of course it is. So, you don't want to count on it because, of course, not any player. I mean, I'm sure at some point, even last year, Cooper Kupp probably had one game where he wasn't amazing, right? I don't know, probably not. But look, Amon-Ra will be fine. You start him every week. Yeah. Okay, now we got that, right? Okay, we get it. Son God, we're going to start you every week. Waddle, he's going to have some downs, and it might be this week because he plays Buffalo, okay? Yeah. But is he capable of doing that again? Of course he is. He's an elite talent. That's why he was drafted, top 10. But no, he's not going to do it every week. And I know, here's the thing, though. I'm not going to get on the soapbox about Tua in Miami, but you see it, of course. There's got to be something, right? It's like, oh, well, Baltimore, all their cornerbacks were hurt. Okay, fine. But it's not like this can't ever happen again, as if Waddle, there was nobody in the secondary just like wide open. I mean, anyways, I'm not selling Waddle. I'm not selling high on Waddle. If that's kind of what you're implying here, I'm definitely holding him on Ross and Brown.
No, you're playing those guys every single week, but
every week, no matter what the matchup is, even. I mean, almost must start. Trade Connor for Hall and Hawk. Okay, so that explains why you're trading for Hawk, because you probably don't have a tight end at this point.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Breece Hall, you might have to wait till the second half of the season to really get anything for Breece Hall, and Hawkinson is just kind of like okay, but he's still better than guys you're probably going to stream on the waiver wire most weeks. Connor's just touchdown dependent and already banged up. Never has not missed games. I nothing about Connor excites me. I'd rather take my chances on Hall. Hawk is a decent throw-in, so yeah, I do that.
I might do Connor for Hall straight up, honestly. Yeah. That's pretty close. And yeah, I mean, think long term, Hall's probably going to outscore Connor by end of season. So I definitely do that if you're getting Hall and Hawk, especially if you need a tight end. And Hawk, we definitely are lower on him now. We have to be, but at least you can play him and get something.
Getting more than Kyle Pitts.
More than Kyle Pitts. Don't remind us. All right. Douglas, Debo for Mixon, straight up.
I'm taking Debo. I mean, okay, you say you need to improve your running back. So I guess it comes down to, like, are you loaded at wide receiver? Like, do you have, T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman? Like, do you have 3 awesome wide receivers and Debo somehow? Like, maybe you went, like, 0 RB and you have no running backs right now. Okay, maybe in that case I would do it if you're absolutely loaded at wide receiver. But if you're not, no, I don't do it. I don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and look, maybe I was a little too low on Mixon because I said I probably wouldn't take him as a first-round pick. He's getting a lot more volume than we thought he would. And we just looked at something today. I think, Chris, you shared something today about running back, market share leaders as far as, who's getting the most touches on their team. And Mixon was he number 1 or 2? I think he was one of the top in terms of touches. I mean, there's no other running back getting involved there. He's getting a ton of carries and is just as involved. Actually, it might be more involved as a pass catcher, which is not what I expected. Now, of course, only 2 games, and Debo's getting used a ton in the running game, and I think he will be. And that's the difference. With Elijah Mitchell out, Debo is their leading rusher.
And Jimmy G back now.
And with Jimmy G, that changes things, right? Yeah. And that's why Debo now all of a sudden, like, you know what? Maybe he can do what he did last year. Because circumstances have changed. So because of that, I would prefer Debo. I don't think it's a bad trade, I guess. Like, if you're really that desperate running back, I think it's fine to do. But between the two, I would prefer Debo.
Yeah.
All right. Also struggling with running back. Who can get off waivers? Good luck. Well, we just talked about James Conner. Darrell Williams, I mean, he's kind of a no-go at this point, right?
Even if Connor doesn't play for this week, it was a split between him and Eno. I don't think it's going to be – I think they're going to split this backfield, so he doesn't really excite me. There's It's tough out there for teams who need running backs. I get it. There's not a lot of waivers. We haven't really, one thing, even though running backs, so I saw an interesting stat today. No running back has scored more than 17 PPR points in week 1 and week 2. It's been a rough start for running backs, and I sent out a tweet. There's only 6 running backs inside the top 24 PPR scorers right now, and the number 1 running back is the 6th overall or 7th overall scorer. Like, it's been tough for running backs. We haven't had an injury, so there hasn't been anything on the waivers. It's been a tough sledding for running backs, but I'm not picking up Darrell Williams. I'm just not.
No, you can't unless we know Connor's not going to play, and it looks like he will play. I mean, right now. So look, if you can,
and even then, even if he doesn't play against the Rams, I'm not starting Williams against the Rams.
And not like you said, even if Connor doesn't play, then you talk about Williams splitting time with Benjamin, going against the Rams. I mean, that's desperation. I mean, I get it. You're obviously desperate, but if you don't need someone for this week and you can afford to wait, I'm actually going to, be putting out like last week, the breakouts, beat the breakout, early waiver wire stashes, guys that aren't going to help you this week, but maybe in a couple weeks, you get them before everyone else is bidding on them. So obviously with Ty Davis Price now hurt, of course, Elijah Mitchell's out. Jordan Mason is going to get some run. Not saying to expect anything, but he's worth a stash, right? Mm-hmm. Brian Robinson, obviously, if he's out there, definitely got you on a stash. Not crazy about him, but maybe Tyler Algier, because there's nobody else other than Cordero Patterson in Atlanta. If he fades in the second half, that's when the rookies start to get more run. Maybe he starts to show something, why they draft him. So those are guys you could stash. Yeah. If you need somebody this week, good luck. I mean, look, Raheem Mostert, I guess, might be out there, and I wouldn't want to start him this week, but that's all I can really think of.
Yeah, not a lot out there.
Although I will tell you this, and this is a true story, you always check, no matter what league you're in, you always check the waiver wire to see who's been dropped. I'm not even kidding you. I randomly checked last night in one of the leagues I'm in. It's a public league, right? It's a part of like a Pros versus Joes thing. Somebody dropped Javonte Williams after week one. I'm not kidding you. Somebody dropped Javonte Williams. So I put a bid in. We'll see if it's high enough.
I mean, you got to bid everything you've got. Whatever you have left.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. All right. Offer Najee and A-Rob for my Fournette.
I take that. If you're getting Najee and A-Rob, take that. Yeah.
I mean, you'd probably take Najee over Fournette just straight up.
Yeah, and getting A-Rob in for Fournette, I definitely take that. Like I said, all it's going to take is one game. Like if it's this Thursday and Najee runs for, let's say, 70 or 80 yards, catches 4 passes for like another 30 or 40 yards and scores a couple touchdowns or even one touchdown, everybody's going to be all back on board Najee Harris. It's going to happen that quick. So, yes, I take that for sure.
All right, another super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, James. All right. Should I trade Ramondre Stevenson and Jahan Dotson for Zeke?
No. Like, what are you – I mean – what are you even buying like with Zeke? He's literally scored 5.9 PPR points 2 weeks in a row. He's no longer a workhorse. Tony Pollard getting all the targets. Zeke's barely involved in the passing game. He's just an early down grinder who needs touchdowns at this point. I'm not high on Stevenson, but I am high on Dotson. Dotson could be a breakout second half, one of those breakout second half rookies. Do not do this trade. Do not.
No, look, and I don't take this wrong way, James. I'm just saying, look, if you haven't watched Endgame before, if you haven't been with us for a while, we told you don't draft Zeke. Chris made a very beautiful thumbnail of a video. I don't even know what it's
so long.
It was the best. It's the best. I don't think you'll ever. It's like your like your Last Supper of thumbnails for YouTube. It's Zeke literally turning into dust. It was like a little homage to Thanos, right?
Yes.
Anyways, don't do that. Yeah. All right. Rob's asking Kamara for J-Rob and MT.
I think I do this. I know I said MT's a sell high, but I think if you're getting MT and James Robinson, look, Kamara week 1 already got banged up. Mark Ingram is there. Tony Jones looked halfway decent. Taysom Hill's there to vulture. I don't think it's going to be like – I think Kamara will be okay, but it's not going to be like old, what we're used to a couple of years ago with Kamara, like winning championships. MT, I think he's probably at his highest value right now, but he'll be solid. And J-Rob looks like a great guy to have right now, so I do that.
Yeah, I'll usually say I'm not in favor of going quantity over quality in this case, because I'm just not convinced Kamara is going to be Kamara of old. And if we talked about him a lot, not to the nearly the same extent as Zeke. I'm not saying he's dust or he's trash or whatever, but this offense is different, right? James Winston is, not going to dump it off nearly as much. And, Kamara's banged up, and it's just not the same offensive line either. Honestly, they lost Armstead. They had injuries. So Kamara, I don't see as an elite back. J-Rob has been great. And Michael Thomas, I'll at least admit, he's going to do something, right? He's going to do something for you. So I would take this. I would take those two over Kamara.
Yeah.
Mike is asking, okay, so here's a trade, big name trade.
Wow, this is a big boy trade right here.
Yeah, all right. So Najee Pitts, St. Brown, or CMC Deontay Hawkinson. He's not telling us which side. We're picking a side. That's smart, right?
Yeah, that's smart. I'm taking the Najee side. I think Najee, you can be down on Najee right now, but then you got to be down on CMC because they're pretty much getting the same usage and not really doing a whole lot with it. So if you're down on Najee, you got to be down on CMC, but I'm not really down on either. I think they're both going to bounce back and be fine. Pitts, I probably still prefer Pitts over Hawkinson because at least Pitts still has potential, and I greatly prefer St. Brown over Deontay, so I take the Najee side.
I definitely take that side. Yeah. For me, let's start with the tight ends. I still see that as a huge win, Pitts over Hawkinson, because I do feel, and I talked about this in the Boom video, I feel Pitts gets right. He's not going to just catch 2 passes a game the rest of the season. He's going to be significantly better. I think Hawkinson just kind of is what he is. I think that's it. To me, St. Brown over Deontay, definitely get the edge there. And then Najee CMC, maybe CMC does get more points, but I don't think it's going to be a huge difference. But I do think that you get a big advantage in the other two. So, yeah, I take the first side. All right, appreciate that. Let's see if we have more super chats. If not, we're going to start getting to some of those first questions. But look, here we go. We got Tyler McAlexander. Need some advice for RB. Got Zeke and Mitchell. That hurts. Pierce, I think, is startable now. Kamara, okay, Eckler, and Henderson.
The problem is the only guy you can really trade right now is Eckler. You probably don't want to trade him because he's your best running back. And his value isn't so high that you're going to get some great return right now. I think Pierce has a great week this week. Hopefully Kamara comes. Maybe if Kamara comes back this week and does something, maybe you can try to move him. Not just Elliott is just. I'm sorry, guys, but we tried to tell you all season Elliott's going to be a wasted pick. It's just a wasted pick. It just is. So I think you're okay though. Thankfully, Pierce took over that backfield last week, and now he has a great matchup. So I think you can just roll with Pierce and Eckler this week, and hopefully Kamara comes back and at least is good. So I think you're okay.
Yeah, obviously you can't do anything with Mitchell but stash him. Look, it depends on your league. If you have somebody in your league who's stuck in the year 2020 and they wanted Kamara and Zeke, package those two for an elite running back or somebody you think that they might give to you. You never know. Look, name recognition goes a long way, right? Kamara, Zeke, obviously, he's not it anymore, but some people will still be big on Kamara, I guarantee. So that might be the guy I tried to trade. We just talked about him. So, yeah. All right, Mike again is asking Debo and Mooney for Mike Will, J-Rob, Hollywood.
Love Debo, but man, I saw another stat today. The Bears have attempted 40 passes this year, which is by far the lowest. The next lowest team has attempted 68. And the league average is 80. And they've attempted 40. The league average is 70 something. I don't know. But Mooney to me is I love Debo, but give me Mike Will, J-Rob, Hollywood easily in this deal. Easily. Yeah, easily.
You're getting two, with Williams and Hollywood, you got two solid, wide receiver 2 types. And you're getting an RB2 basically now. And Mooney's he's droppable, really. I know we don't want to overreact to 2 games, but that's not an overreaction. When a guy literally doesn't catch any passes and the offense is just looking like it doesn't even want to throw the ball. That's the problem. It's not Mooney. Like, poor guy, he's a really good receiver, just stuck on a bad passing offense.
Yeah.
Kind of like the game Metcalf.
Yes.
All right, Matthew Stark is asking Curtis Samuel and Kareem Hunt for Mixon.
If you're getting Mixon, definitely. I mean, I love Curtis Samuel, and I like Kareem Hunt a lot, but you're getting a top 5, top 10 running back for a guy you grabbed off waivers and a guy you drafted in like the 9th round. You got to do that.
Right. And that's the thing, is you're getting a surefire every week starter. Hunt is, you're going to start him most weeks, but he's not like a no doubt must start.
Yeah.
And Samuel, same thing. He's more of a flex. So, yeah, take the Mixon side.
Yeah, definitely.
Clayton is asking, offer Darrell Henderson for my Zeke.
I'd rather have Darrell Henderson. At least the path, at least we know if Akers gets hurt, Darrell Henderson has tons of value in this offense. Zeke is just what Zeke is at this point. Like, he's never going to be more than what he is anymore. He's just a grinding running back who needs touchdowns. Henderson doesn't have a lot of value right now, but at least down the road he could. I'd actually rather have Henderson.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Henderson, but the thing is, there's that path because, like you said, Akers could get benched again, if he's just, not running right. Or, of course, there's definitely risk of re-injury. You never predict injuries, but I'm just saying there's a better path for Henderson becoming valuable. And Zeke, like, even if he is just Zeke, like if Tony Pollard disappeared, then like what are you really getting?
You getting?
I get, yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, I guess Darrell Henderson. All right, don't see any more super chats right now, guys. We're going to try to go all the way back and try to get as many questions as we can. But like I said, if you just don't want to wait, then that's your fast pass. Of course, you can super chat and we'll get right on that. But let's go back to the list.
All right, we got this one from Heath, long time supporter. What's up, Heath? He's making a trade to get Mixon and Hall. He's going to trade away CD and Josh Jacobs. What are your thoughts?
I do that. I mean, to me, Jacobs is just, he's kind of a throwaway. To me, he's basically just a slightly younger version of Zeke. He is Zeke, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
Sure. He's not getting any 2 targets through 2 games. Like last year, people were like, look, he's finally catching 2 targets through 2 games. He's getting the carries, but that's it. And he's in an offense that's throwing the ball a ton. Yeah, Mixon, like I said, that's huge. And Breece Hall will be great down the stretch. I still like CD, but man, for those 2 guys, I definitely do that.
I definitely do that.
And then Tristan has a trade question. Waller and Dotson for Mike Williams, and I assume he means Javonte Williams, because I don't know who Javonte Williams is. I'm going to assume Javonte Williams.
Probably Javonte. I'd definitely rather have Williams than Javonte. I mean, Javonte is at the very least a high-end RB2. He's a guy you pretty much start every week. Yeah. Mike Williams will be solid. Waller will be fine. Look, but again, don't overreact. Oh, I need an elite tight end. You don't. I mean, and to me, it's like elite tight end means Kelsey or Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
That's it. Even Kittle, like when he comes back, he should be, but man, that dude's always hurt. And then Waller, I just don't know if he's going to be that guy with Devontae Adams there. So I definitely would rather have Williams.
Yeah, Waller never going to be one of those guys that like a tight end that can, like Mark Andrews last week, like, what do you have, like 25 points or something? Like he could win you a week. So Kelsey, Waller will never be that guy. You got to take the Williams. You got to take the Williams duo there for sure. All right, trying to find like waiver wire or trade questions here. And then if we don't have any, we'll circle back to the start sits. But we do that on Saturday, so you can join us in. And we're going to extend that one an extra hour because we were we ran out of time. Couldn't get through all our questions last week. So we're gonna extend that by an hour, guys. So all right, here we go.
All right, and then Clayton's back with a question. Derrick Henry question. All right, these are always interesting. Derrick Henry for Debo and J-Rob.
I don't know if you're saying Debo or J-Rob. Look, if you can trade Derrick Henry and get Debo like as fast as you can hit accept, you do that. I'd probably take J-Rob over Derrick Henry right now. I mean, Derrick Henry has looked
straight up. You would take James Robinson over
Derrick Henry has looked like a 28-year-old running back with 1,500 touches with metal rods in his foot so far. He does not look like Derrick Henry. He's not okay. Derrick Henry usually does awesome against the Bills because they play those 2 high safeties. They play that like cover 2, and there's a lot of room for him. And he did nothing to get like. I think Derrick Henry's better days are behind him. I mean, definitely Debo. J-Rob may be closer, but J-Rob's getting 23 touches. And he actually looks pretty good. I totally was wrong on J-Rob.
Well, yeah, we were definitely wrong on J-Rob. Okay, look, if we're getting both those guys, I say yes, because Debo now looks like he actually might repeat, at least get close to what he did last year. And Derrick Henry, it doesn't look like he'll do what he was doing last year. I'm not out on Derrick Henry. I wouldn't take James Robinson over Henry straight up. But yeah, for Debo, I would. And yeah, look, Derrick Henry, I get it. You know, you look terrible. That was against Buffalo. They made the Rams look silly and stupid in week 1. And Buffalo's just out for, blood this year. So fine. I'm not worried too much about Derrick Henry. He had 82 yards in week 1. I think he'll be fine. But yeah, I'd rather have those two guys.
Any more super chats or back to
nope, not that I see.
All right, here's a good one. Do you think Cousins will bounce back versus the Lions, or should Yusuf pick up Goff?
I'm kicking myself for being inspired by Kirk Cousins. We should have known prime time Monday Night Football. He would just let down, right? That's what he does in a big game. So, look, against the Lions, that's where he will thrive. I'm back on Kirk Cousins. I think he'll be fine this week. And a lot of times when guys get embarrassed, then they answer the bell, right? So, yeah, I'm fine with Cousins this week.
Love Cousins this week. Definitely love Cousins this week. And I still like Cousins a lot going forward. Like, every quarterback has terrible. Like, Matthew Stafford week 1 was awful. Joe Burrow has been pretty awful so far this
Burrow's
season.
Been bad twice.
It happens. And dude, that Eagles secondary is legit. I actually, in the league where I lost Lance, I offered a trade. I haven't heard back yet. The guy has Cousins on his bench. I asked for Cousins and Travis Etienne, who also has on his bench, and I offered Kareem Hunt. So, because to me, it's like this guy might not even want Kirk Cousins because he just had a terrible game. He's sitting on his bench, and he obviously doesn't want Etienne. He's sitting on his bench. So I said, hey, if I can get those two guys for Hunt, I'll take that, because I still like Cousins a lot. Rest of the season, he's got receivers. He's in a great system. I still like him a lot. And
yeah, Goff's not a bad streaming option if you're out, you don't have Lance or you need a quarterback, but I wouldn't put him over Cousins or anybody else. I'm not that high on him.
Yeah, Goff's
Timor gave us a super chat here. I don't see a question with it, so if it's just like a tip, thank you. Oh, wait. Hold on. Down here. Okay. Hey, guys, what do you think of Chubb and Olave for Kamara and Hollywood?
Ooh, I'm going to back you down on that. This is actually tough for me. This is a tough one for me. I really like Olave. I think Olave can be really good, but I still think Hollywood's going to have a great year. Like, come on. Maybe we don't see it until D-Hop gets back, and D-Hop can take a little pressure and help that offense, move the ball a little bit more, but I still think Hollywood's going to have a great year. Chubb and Kamara, like, pretty lateral for me. I think.
Really?
Well, yeah, because okay, we can't overreact to a Chubb 3-touchdown game. He had, if you take out the three touchdowns, he had 14 fantasy points. It wasn't like Chubb ran for 200 yards and caught 7. He had like 80 yards and caught like 2 passes or something. Like, okay, like we can't overreact to a guy who scored 3 touchdowns. He's not going to do that again. So I think just because of Hollywood, I lean slightly more that way. But this is a very close one for me. This is very close.
I mean, to me, it is close, right? It is tough. It comes down to, who you prioritize, the running back or the wide receiver. But really, I think the key is you say long term, right? Long term, I go Chubb and Olave because I think as the year progresses, we've already saw Olave get a ton of targets this week, and I think that's just the chemistry is going to develop there. He'll be fine. And, Hollywood is kind of disappointing so far without Hopkins there. We thought he would be doing better. I think he will be fine. I'm not down on him, but really there might not be a huge gap between the Olave and Hollywood, second half of the year. I'd rather have Chubb than Kamara because, yeah, I know he's not going to catch as many passes, but we're not seeing Kamara of old. That's not coming back. The games where he catches 10 passes, 8 passes, I don't think that's coming back. And Chubb always can score a touchdown. So I'll lean the Chubb Olave side.
It's going to be fun in week 4 when Chubb has like a 9-point game this week to see what people say.
At least he's on the field, unlike Kamara. All right, Swerve BG. Should he trade Lamar Jackson? No. Mixon, Bateman for Tua, Saquon, James Robinson, and Mike Williams or Brandon Cooks. This is a 3 for 4.
Okay, here's
a
my
big boy trade.
Like, I love Saquon, but I definitely think Saquon will be better than Mixon this year. James Robinson and Bateman, maybe give the slight edge to Bateman if it's PPR. Having Mike Williams or Brandon Cooks is nice, but I'm sorry, Pierre. Lamar Jackson, for as good as Tua was in week 2, dropping 50 fantasy points in week 2. Lamar Jackson is going to score significantly more fantasy points than Tua this year. He's going to run for like 1,000+ yards. He's probably going to have like 10 rushing touchdowns. Like they have no running game, and people keep expecting. J.K. Dobbins literally tore every ligament in his knee and his hamstring on it. Like the worst ACL tear you can possibly have. He's not, even if he comes back at some point, he's going to be not effective at all. Lamar Jackson is a running back and a quarterback in one guy. That for me pushes it to that side.
You know what? I'm with you. Honestly, I would rather have the Jackson, Mixon, Bateman side, because let's say, okay, Mixon, Saquon, it's close. Like, yeah, I prefer Saquon, but it's not like a huge gap, right? I mean, they're both every week RB1, right? Okay. So to me, that's kind of the same. Bateman and a guy like Mike Williams, kind of the same to me. But the gap, like you said, Lamar Jackson, I mean, I've said this over and over again. Like, Josh Allen will probably be the quarterback 1 in fantasy again. Lamar Jackson will be the quarterback 2. I really think like top 3, that's his floor. That's it. Like, he's going to be elite every week. And Tua will be up and down. Tua will have big games. Tua will have, modest games. So I can't do that. I can't trade Lamar Jackson basically, like, at all. Yeah. James Robinson doesn't make up that difference. James Robinson is fine. He's not going to win your league like Lamar Jackson could.
Exactly.
Then we have Jordan. London or Hunt this week in the flex?
I'm going London. Again, it's the Seahawks. He's getting a huge target share. He's already looks good. I got to go London.
And I mentioned this earlier about target shares. Again, just 2 games, so take it for what it's worth, right? Grain of salt, but still, London among the leaders. Not as far as rookies, all receivers. He's one of the top in terms of team target share, which is why Kyle Pitts has done nothing. Now, I do think Pitts gets right this week, but I think they both have big games because it's the Seahawks. Like you said, Atlanta has actually had 2 really tough matchups to start the year on defense. And London has still done really well in the first 2 games. That is very encouraging. And the fact that obviously his quarterback likes him the best. So, yeah, it's got to be London. I mean, London's almost a must start. I mean, it depends on how shallow your league is. But all right, so here we go. Swift for CD and Fournette.
This is going to test me.
I love the avatar, by the way. We're anybody doesn't know we're huge dog people.
Yeah. Man, I kind of want to say yes. My worry with, like, I still am high on CD long term. Like, I think he'll be fine second half when Dak gets healthy. I think CD will be great. But I think Swift is going to be great. Like, I think Swift has legit top 1 running back potential this year. Fournette will be fine. And I think Fournette will be good here early on in the season, but I think as it goes on, we're going to see, we already started to see a little bit more Rachaad White in week 2, getting run on second downs, third downs, even when it wasn't garbage time. I think we're going to see that more because they need Fournette healthy for the playoffs. They can't give this guy 80% of the snaps every single week. They need this guy for the playoffs. And as soon as they start to develop that trust more and more in White, he'll get more run. Man, but that's a good return for Swift. So you've got Henry and J-Rob, and then you'd have Swift, and you got Debo and Christian Kirk. It looks like a shallow league. I think I stay with Swift, but man, it's tempting. It's very tempting.
It is tough. I think I'm going Swift because I'm not crazy about CD anymore. And like you said, Fournette, I would feel more strongly about this if it was maybe Saquon. Swift has that huge potential. It's just,
Yeah.
he gets banged up. It just happens. And sometimes he doesn't get the volume because the Lions fall behind. So that's the worrisome thing. But Swift just has that game-breaking, week-winning ability, and it's just tough to pass on that. So I think the upside is too much. So I would rather have Swift.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe Vogel is asking Cooks and Dobbins or Gibson and Devontae Smith.
I'm gonna go. I like Cooks a lot, but I'm gonna go the Gibson side. Even though I do think Gibson's value, you only have like maybe a few more weeks where Gibson's valuable, and then Robinson is back and getting run. But I like Smith and Dobbins, like I just said. Dobbins, no, I'm not touching Dobbins this year. Even if he gets on the field, he's going to be so ineffective. That was just such a brutal. Look, next year, Dobbins is going to be an absolute steal in fantasy drafts because after this year, he's going to be like a 7th or 8th round pick next year. But this year, it's too soon off that just a brutal injury.
Yeah. So I would say get Gibson and Devontae Smith and then immediately flip Gibson. Just trade him for whatever you can get for him, like a wide receiver 3 or something. Because he's going to lose his job, and he hasn't even been that great anyways. I mean, he was like 14 carries for 28 yards. Was it something like that last week? So, yeah, take Devontae Smith and then flip Gibson. All right, half point, 12-team league. Traded Najee and DJ Moore for Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, and Mooney. Should you trade Jones for Derrick Henry?
Oh, man.
I'd be surprised. Someone's going to give up Derrick Henry for Aaron Jones straight up.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said Aaron Jones is a sell high because he just came off a big game and all you heard all offseason from all these people was Aaron Jones without Devontae Adams is going to be like the RB1. He's going to score like 30 fantasy points every single week. And it's not going to happen. But, man, I don't. The problem is
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I probably take Derrick Henry. I don't really love either of those guys. The problem is you traded Najee and DJ Moore to get Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, and Mooney, and now you only have Aaron Jones and Breece Hall, basically. So,
well, yeah, the problem. You'd rather have Najee than any of those running backs, right?
Yeah, but yeah, if I can get Derrick Henry for Aaron Jones, I'll gamble on the volume with Derrick Henry. So, yeah,
I'll take Derrick Henry. Trade away Brandon Cooks, A-Rob, Hunt, Jeff Wilson. Okay. For Kamara, Claypool, and Schultz?
No. I mean, I would take Cooks, A-Rob, and Hunt over those 3 guys. And then you're giving up. I mean, Jeff Wilson, nothing special, but he's going to get at least he's at least serviceable for the time being if you need him. Like Claypool, you can't start Chase Claypool. Schultz coming off a PCL injury and didn't even get targeted with Cooper Rush. We don't even know if he's going to play or if he's going to be effective when he comes back, at least for a while. So no way. No, don't trade away those guys for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be trading for 2 guys that are hurt, basically. And I guess, they might play this week.
And
but
one who's basically is unstartable.
Yeah, Schultz is, would be fine. Let's wait and see. At least wait a week. And you know what? And if he misses this week or if he plays and doesn't do much, his trade value is lower. And then maybe you can get him at a better cost. And then Claypool, I just have no interest in.
Yeah, he's nice.
So, no. We both say no. Don't do that deal.
Yeah, don't do that deal.
I don't mind trading Jeff Wilson away right now, but yeah, try for something better. Okay, don't see any more super chats as of right now. So, wait a minute, Derek's saying we skipped him. Let's see if we can find it. Sorry, Derek. Oh, I see it now. Here we go.
All right.
Hot Tyreek. He's gonna be hot all year. Or Devontae Adams rest of the season.
I still got to go Adams. Like I know Tyreek wasn't bad in people. It's like people forget week 1 happened. Okay, week 1, Tua like 14 fantasy points, fine. Jalen Waddle did have I think he had that catch and run for a touchdown, but other than that, he didn't do a whole lot. Tyreek had a lot of catches, but not a lot of yards. And then week 2 happens, and suddenly this is the Dolphins are the greatest offense we've ever seen, and these guys are just gonna torch the world all year. Guys, find the middle. It's probably not. Well, it might be as bad. It might be worse than week 1 this week because it's the Bills, but they'll be okay. They'll be good. But Devontae, we're talking about Derek Carr's BFF. like where like every snap he's just where's Devontae Adams? Where's the there he is. Like, oh, triple coverage, I don't care. There you go. Like I still got to go Devontae Adams. His target share is like going to be insane this year.
Yeah, I Devontae Adams is a top 5 receiver. I'm not budging off of that. Yeah, it was a disappointing week 2, but that's it. Week 2's over. And
Jefferson had a disappointing week 2. Chase had a disappointing week. It happens.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Oh, Jamar Chase, he didn't do anything. Who cares? Yeah. All right. So, no, I mean, I get that. Tyreek Hill looks like he's going to be a monster in this offense. I mean, who would have thought that? But Devontae Adams, I got to give him the edge. The slight edge. Okay, I think we got the rest, making double sure we didn't miss any. But yeah, I think we're good on the super chats for now, but we'll keep an eye out.
All right. And then we got another trade question. Amari Cooper for CEH. 2 of your absolute favorites.
I'm going Cooper. And look, CEH is fine, but look, we got to think long term. We always talk about this. The beginning of the season matters much less. And after week, 11, he's going to get Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. And all of a sudden, you're going to want Amari Cooper in your lineup every week. So I don't know that that's the case for CEH. I get that running back is thin, but I just don't have that much trust in him.
I still have worries about Cooper, even with Deshaun Watson. I mean, we're just acting like a guy who hasn't taken an NFL snap in over 2 years is just going to show up week 12 and be like a top 5 elite quarterback again. And look, you and I watched that preseason game. Now, granted, it was preseason, but still, Deshaun Watson was on the field throwing against like backups, and he looked like a guy who hadn't taken an NFL snap in over 2 years. Like, I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to show up week 12 and bam, he's just be like Deshaun of old. And I get it. I get the thing with like I had both these guys as sell highs. So I mean, this is like, okay, you're asking me my 2 sell highs, but it's still the Browns. They still just want to run the ball. Like, I know Cooper had a nice game here, but Brissett only threw for 200 yards and 1 touchdown. You're gonna have 11 weeks of struggles with Cooper. I'm still gonna go CEH. I'm still gonna take CEH.
Well, the thing is, we did see Cooper did something with Jacoby Brissett. It's not gonna happen every week, but he's not gonna be a total bust. And look, Deshaun comes back. Week 12, 13, get the rust off. Week 14, fancy playoff.
I think it might be 2023 before he gets the rust off, though. That's my worry. That's my worry.
Well, it's close. I'll go.
It's close. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's not like I feel. Both these guys were on my sell high video today, so obviously I feel like
that's why
you should be trading them both away.
Yeah.
All right, another one. Did we do this one? I think we did this one, right? Samuel Hunt. Yeah, because he super chatted to get that one.
Yeah, Matthew Stark. Yeah, we did.
All right, how about Jake here? Trade Kupp, Goddard, and Stafford for Mixon, Tua, and Kittle. No.
Don't trade Kupp. Like, just don't.
And not only that, like, okay, Mixon is great, but Kupp is still. It's obvious Kupp is still going to be like a top 2 or 3 wide receiver. He's going to be a beast. Goddard has been great. Like, I don't even think Kittle's an upgrade over Goddard right now, and Stafford, I prefer over Tua. Yeah, I prefer Stafford over Tua. So,
and I prefer, yeah. No, you're really not getting an edge in any of those. So don't do that. No. All right, we got one here from Alex Sanchez. Trade Bateman and Penny, and Penny or Jacobs for Debo. Yeah, I would do that.
And if either like this is what I would do. I would be like, if it was a guy I'm trading with, I'd say, like, who do you like better between Penny or Jacobs? And he says Jacobs. Okay, you want Bateman and Jacobs? Or if he says Penny, okay, you want Bateman and Penny? Like, whichever one he wants. Like, don't try to like lowball him. Like people in the Discord will be like, well, which one would you prefer to give up? And I'm like, whichever one he wants or she wants, whichever one my trade partner wants the most, they can have that guy. Because I don't want like any hangups here where it's like, but I really would prefer Jacobs, and you know what I mean? No. Which one do you want? Take him. Give me Debo. Yeah.
And he's saying he hopes to land, I guess, Damian Harris on waivers. If you have running backs like that on waivers, just give them both. Hey, look, take Penny and Jacobs. Just clear some
all 3 of them. Have them all. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it seems like this is not a deep league. So, yeah, you definitely prefer the talent of Debo. I mean, I love Bateman, but Debo is wide receiver 1, no doubt stud. So, Give him whichever running back he wants, and if he wants both, give him both.
Yes, I agree. All right, Dan here. I got offered Devontae Adams for Mike Evans and Bateman. He's also got Chris Godwin if that plays a factor, but I don't think so. So do we want Evans and Bateman, or do we prefer Devontae?
That's tougher because you're giving up 2 starters. I know you're saying he's your second flex, but because Evans, Evans is a guy you're going to lock in there every week when he does play.
Except this one.
Except this week.
At least he's not hurt, so.
I don't know. This is really, really tough.
Well, I'll say that. Here's why I say easily the Evans and Bateman side. Because he's saying my second flex. So this is the league. This is a deep starting lineup. 2 flexes. I don't know if you're starting 2 wide receivers or 3, but still you're looking at probably 2 running backs, at least 2 wide receivers plus 2 flexes. That's 6 guys you got to start every week outside of your QB, tight end, defense, and all that. In those type of leagues, depth matters more than having us, because if you get rid of those, this is what happened. Okay, this happened actually to Pierre and I. Well, to me, last year in our endgame league, one of our endgame leagues, it was a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex league. I had this great team. I had great depth, and I made a move, and I traded 2 of my depth pieces for Calvin Ridley when he was kind of going through that mental thing, thinking like my team, when Calvin Ridley comes back, my team is going to be so stacked, no one can stop me. And Calvin Ridley never came back, and I lost that depth. And you just, in leagues like that, depth matters more. And it's not like Evans is a huge drop off from Adams or anything. Evans will be great, and Bateman I think will still be very good. I think because you said he's your second flex, which means it's a deeper league, I take the Evans Bateman side.
Yeah. So he's saying he got offered Adams for Evans and Bateman. So I guess no, pass on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Super chat here from Miles. He said offered Eckler and Pitts for Kelsey.
I think I would take that offer back. I think that's too much. I love Kelsey.
Yeah, that's a little too much.
I think that's a little too much. You're giving up, like a top 10 running back. Maybe Eckler probably won't be top 5 this year because he probably won't have the touchdown upside for top 5, but he's still going to catch a ton of passes. He's still going to probably be a top 10 back. I still think Pitts at least becomes good. Maybe he won't be, the generational talent that everybody thought he would be coming out of college right away yet, but I think that's too much for Kelsey.
I'm looking at it, and I think he meant got offered because he's saying he has Kelsey. Okay. Stay with Kelsey, and he's asking, should he counter? Okay, so let's answer this. Should he counter and get Mixon and Pitts instead? Would you rather have Mixon and Pitts for Kelsey? In that case, I think yes.
Okay, yeah. So if you're getting that for Kelsey, that's a move. Yes. I mean, I hate giving up Kelsey, of course, because he's one of only 2 tight ends that you feel awesome about every single week. But I think Pitts will be okay. And yeah, you get a running back like that, you got to do it.
Yeah. I do think Pitts will be fine. I maybe won't live up to everyone's expectations. Is kind of what I was afraid of before the season, the mock draft. And I was like, I'm not drafting Pitts because everyone's overdrafting him. Next year's when he breaks out, looks like that might be true. But I still think, he's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're getting a stud running back. Now, he's saying he has Leonard, Javonte at 1 and 2 for your running backs. So you're going to have 3 really good running backs. That's a good problem to have. Yeah. And then if you do need to flip somebody later on, you can do that. This might be where you get Mixon, you start Pitts, and then you trade Fournette after he goes off this weekend, my prediction, and benefit somewhere else.
Exactly.
All right, back to the list.
All right, let's see. Looking for either waiver wire or trade questions here. Okay, we got a waiver wire question. Palmer or Dortch off the waiver wire? Who do you prefer?
If we know Keenan Allen isn't playing, it's definitely Palmer. We don't know, of course. I still think Palmer is actually a decent. Now, I did mention Dortch, I know, on my waiver wire video, and I think he's a solid pickup for this week. But man, with the matchup, I think I'd still lean Palmer because it's Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, I still lean Palmer. Here's the thing. Dortch is fine now because Isabella's been out, Rondell Moore's been out, D-Hop is out. Once D-Hop comes back and Moore gets healthy and Isabella's back, Dortch is not going to be involved in this. He's going to be back on waiver wires because he's going to have no value at all. at least Palmer is a nice hold. We've seen if Keenan Allen misses games, he can be played, he can be started. So for now, Dortch is like fine if you like need it, if you're like desperate and you need him right now, just for right now. But he has no long-term value, so I'll take Palmer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Palmer's the better hold. I mean, again, if you're looking just to stream this week, it's close. Dortch is still pretty solid, but yeah, Palmer. I mean, I was big on Palmer preseason too. Sorry, I got to skip. I have to answer this question because we did talk about this in our quarterback one, and we answered this pretty much. But would you pick up Tua and start him over Brady?
Like I'm not starting Brady this week, but I don't know if I can start Tua this week. Like I know he just had this huge game, but this Bills defense just made the Rams look like they didn't belong on the field. Now, granted, last night was Tennessee, so it's like you can take, but this defense, the whole team looks like like Pierre said it, they look like they're on a mission. Like they said, you know what? We're on a mission and we're coming to wreck everybody that stands in our path in the NFL this year. And maybe he gets a touchdown because Tyreek takes one to the house or Waddle takes one to the house because they can do that. But he's not going to put up 300 plus yards and multiple touchdowns, even if it's garbage time. I don't think so. I mean, do I start him over Brady? I don't know. I just prefer to start somebody else over either of these guys this week.
Yeah, I would say Tua if it wasn't Buffalo. The thing is, at least, like you said, they're going to probably have to keep up, and they will throw enough. There could be some value here. Man, Brady, he doesn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. And then who's he got? Julio Jones? Maybe. Julio's probably not even going to play, and if he plays, who cares? Russell Gage is not even 100%. I mean, I'm not starting Tom Brady this week. Period. So I actually would start Tua because at least I think there's some upside there. At least the garbage time, or at least maybe they keep it close. He's got Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have to be perfect. He dumps it off to him. He takes it to the house. So yeah, this week I would start Tua over Brady.
Yeah, but I prefer somebody else. Let's see. All right, drop Lazard for Garrett Wilson or Drake London. I mean, I would definitely drop Lazard for one of those guys. I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm going to favor London because I still have reservations. I think Wilson's going to be a great NFL player, but Zach Wilson's coming back. Elijah Moore is great. I saw a thing today where a guy was like looking at the film, and it's like Elijah Moore is open all over the field, but he's running more of the deeper routes. And Joe Flacco is not a gunslinger. He used to be, but he's not anymore. He's not like a gunslinger type. We don't know when Zach Wilson comes back, how this offense is going to be, who he's going to favor. Drake London is the guy in Atlanta. He is the guy. So I would say drop Lazard for London if I had to choose between the two.
Yeah, so I drop Lazard for either of those guys. Somebody actually asked me this exact same question, not Lazard, but Wilson or London on Twitter today. I said Wilson. I mean, it's really close, but here's the reason. Because London, that huge target share, it's not going to stay the way it is. Pitts will get more involved, right? He will. I think London is great rest of the season. He's good. But Wilson has turned out to be a stud. I mean, just beyond our expectations. And the thing is, he's not going to all of a sudden get all this attention because Elijah Moore's still there. Corey Davis is solid, right? People make fun of Corey Davis. He's a solid receiver, right? At the very least, they have good running back. The Jets offense, honestly, is a quarterback away from being kind of scary. It could be a really good offense if they had a great quarterback. And they've been really good with Joe Flacco for the first 2 weeks. So I really like Wilson. So I prefer him. I mean, but either way, I mean, grab whoever you can. Grab both if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who else you could drop. But
here's a good one. Should I pick up Julio or Russell Gage?
No. Oh, it's like an either or. Okay. Russell Gage.
Yeah, definitely Russell Gage. Julio, we might have seen the only snaps we're going to see from Julio Jones this year, and I'm not even being sarcastic. Already missing a game. We might have already seen all of Julio Jones in 2022, and maybe forever. Honestly,
it's true.
All right, tight end waiver wire question. Here we go. Drop Ertz or Everett for Higbee?
I don't know why you would drop Ertz. I mean, he's been a stud. He got more target. Higbee's getting targeted. Ertz got more target. He got 11. He led the team. He tied for the team lead in targets. And Hopkins not coming back for 4 more weeks.
Yeah,
Ertz is going to be a pretty much every week reliable tight end. He's going to be the tight end that you should have drafted instead of T.J. Hawkinson, basically.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, if you have Ertz, you have Ertz and Everett though? You have both those guys?
Well, like then why do you need Higbee? Everett?
Right? Yeah. Well, first of all, I would drop Everett and pick up somebody else on waivers. Like, is Garrett Wilson out there? Is Drake London or somebody like that can actually like play in your another slot? Because you don't need both. But definitely don't drop Ertz. Ertz looks great. Let's see. We did that one. All right, this is an interesting one. How do we feel about this? Should we be looking to trade away James Robinson now before Etienne starts to eat into his work?
I mean, you're assuming Etienne would start eating into his work, but why? Because if there was a time Robinson would get less carries, it would be the week where he's coming off, injury in the first week of the season, right? And then he would get eased into it. There is no easing into it. Like, Doug Peterson has made it very obvious who he prefers. And we heard this all through training camp. So we should have been aware James Robinson is the guy. And so I don't know if that's because he doesn't really trust Etienne as the guy between the tackles. He sees him more as like a gadgety, just receiver out of the backfield. Or if he just loves James Robinson. But it's pretty obvious. Like, James Robinson is going to have this role all year long. So yeah, no, I wouldn't trade Geronimo. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't see any reason that makes me think Etienne's going to start eating into his work, unfortunately. And then Kobe trade Kelsey for Lamar and Higbee. He had Lance.
I mean, I guess that assumes obviously you don't have a quarterback. Now, I'm assuming that there's just nothing appealing. Like, nobody wants to stream quarterback. Like, that's not a position you want to have to guess week in and week out. And like, if you're going like Mariota and Goff and Mac Jones, that sucks. So yeah, I think you can do that because Higbee is at least getting targets. You're not going to love Higbee every week, but I think to get Lamar over Kelsey, yeah, you can do that because you're getting at least somebody who's startable at tight end.
Yeah, I do this because, again, I think Lamar has – we talked about it a lot this offseason. Like, we were talking about J.K. Dobbins all offseason. Like, don't draft J.K. Dobbins. He's not going to be ready. He's not going to be effective. They're going to have no run game. It's going to be Lamar, all Lamar in the run game. Like, we were both super high on Lamar coming into the season, and nothing I've seen has changed anything for that. So, yeah, you can get potentially the QB2 because Josh Allen will probably be the QB1 again, like you said. But Lamar will probably be the QB2 if he stays healthy all year, and a serviceable tight end in Higbee. I think it's worth it. All right, let's see.
Just a reminder, a couple of reminders. If you do have a burning question, use that super chat feature and we'll get to it right away. I mean, I know the questions keep coming in. I'm reading them, but we can't get to them all. So we're trying to pick out the ones that we haven't talked about or that we think are pressing. We're trying to get to waiver wire questions first because, of course, waivers run tonight for most people. So those are the ones we're going to focus on. And, of course, trade. We love talking trade. Anything else that's like a burning question. So
I threw this one up here not because it's necessarily like we're going to answer it, but because I wanted to tell you, Xavier, I literally did a video on this that went out just last night. So if you go to our channel, you'll see last night I did the buy lows and this morning we did the sell highs. So you can actually go see who are some running backs. I think I had like 5 buy low running backs and 4 sell high running backs. So I just wanted to put that up there, not so we could discuss it, but to let you know, like, hey, we've got a video on that very thing. All right, let's see.
And we love our celebrity cameos. So Ray Charles,
big
fantasy guy, didn't know that.
Big fantasy guy.
Antonio Gibson and Curtis Samuel, two of your commies for Derrick Henry and Pitts. Really?
I think
that can't be serious.
I got to take Henry and Pitts. I know Samuels look good, and everybody thinks, look, I was the biggest Curtis Samuel guy last year. One of my highest drafted players. I did 800 plus best ball drafts last year, and he was on like 30% of my teams. And he's a great player, but he's not going to do what he's been doing for the rest of the season every week. There's still got Terry McLaurin there. Dotson is only going to get better. They're going to face tougher defenses. They're not going to get the Lions and Jaguars every week. Gibson, we already talked about. His role is going to get severely diminished here pretty soon. You got to take Henry and Pitts.
Like Ray, even you can see Henry and Pitts is a clear advantage there. Yeah, this is serious. It's Henry and Pitts.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know. It's like a softball. Okay, grin aside with $1, and grin aside's asking Swift for AJ Brown and Miles Sanders.
Look, again, this is kind of like the CD and the Fournette. It's a tempting offer. It's not a low ball offer. But AJ Brown is one of those, like we saw it here in week 2, right? AJ Brown, this is who he was in Tennessee too. He's one of those guys where 1 week he goes off and gets like 30 points, and everybody's like, yeah, AJ Brown every single week, top 5 wide receiver. And then the next week he gets like 5 catches, like 5 targets, and doesn't really do a whole lot. I mean, this is kind of how he is. And that's how he's going to be in this offense, because this isn't some, offense that's going to throw the ball, 40, 50 times every week. So I got to keep Swift. Just that upside that he has legit league winning potential this year. Like, he could be an absolute league winner this year. So I gotta stick with Swift.
Yeah, and I think he's saying he's getting Swift. So if you're getting Swift, because he has Mixon, Brees, and Edmonds. Look, Mixon, but then Brees, like you said, you don't love starting him right now. And Edmonds, who knows? So yeah, I think you would get the Swift side. I'm agree with you, Chris. Because AJ Brown, I mean, I love him. He's a stud, but it looks like you need a running back more than a stud receiver. But also, yeah, having that potential top 5 running back is going to be more valuable than that potential, probably not even top 5, a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah. Probably like, top 10 seems fair. And
yeah, but I'd rather have Swift.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so Kenny, somebody dropped Ramondre. Should I drop Jeff Wilson for him? Can't really drop anybody else, he says.
I mean, this is not really an earth-shaking move either way, is it?
No, I'm going to say yes, though, only because, Harris is still the guy. We saw that in week 2. He pulled away. But at least we know if Harris does go down, Ramondre's role is going to go way up. Jeff Wilson's role is just what Jeff Wilson's role is, and he could lose his job any week. Maybe Marlon Mack takes it. Maybe Jordan Mason takes it. Maybe they just give Debo 20 carries and maybe they just make Debo a running back and he doesn't even run routes. Like Jeff Wilson's job is far from safe, and we know Elijah Mitchell is coming back. So I would at least take the potential of Ramondre if something happens to Harris. So yeah, it doesn't really excite me, but yes, I would pick up Ramondre and drop Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not all over Jeff Wilson. And like you said, by the season's end, who do you think you'd rather have? It's probably going to be Stevenson, because Wilson will fade away. I mean, yeah, who knows? Marlon Mack, it could happen. We'll call it the Mackening. It's happening.
All right, how about this one? Red on red. Sell high on Rashad Bateman?
Nope. He's not big play dependent. Look, just because he made a big play doesn't mean he depends on it. He's going to get plenty of targets. He is the receiver. Besides Mark Andrews, who's a tight end, he's obviously going to be the main guy, but that's it, right? So, like Devin Duvernay, that's a big play dependent receiver. Yes. He'll make a big play for a touchdown and then he'll disappear. Rashad Bateman is going to be a really good. And then you say run first offense. Let's go and check how much did they run versus pass last year. How much have they run versus pass this year? It's not that type of offense, because it's not that type of defense anymore. And
not only that, they don't have any running backs. They can't run the ball. Lamar is the only guy that can run the ball. Like Kenyon Drake, Mike Davis, Justice Hill. Like they don't have any running backs. So yeah.
Guys, that's what people don't realize. Last year, Baltimore top 10 in pass attempts. They're not a run first offense anymore. They can't afford to be because their defense is that bad.
All right, here's an interesting trade question. Should JT, it's me, trade Gabe Davis and Tony Pollard for AJ Brown?
I'd do that. I'd rather have AJ Brown.
Yes, me too. I mean, I like Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is going to have some big games, but he's not like AJ Brown's an every week set and forget wide receiver. So yeah.
Oops. Sorry.
That's all right.
Accidental click. Well, let's put it up there. Henry Odom, he's been with us before. Hurts for Diggs.
No,
it's interesting. Diggs. A quarterback for an elite receiver. I know you normally just point blank say no to that. I guess he's asking, based on your roster.
Wide receivers are Pittman, Sutton, and St. Brown. I mean, I don't know if tight ends matter, but I mean, I hate giving up Hurts, especially if you have to downgrade to like a guy like Goff. But I mean, you're getting Diggs. Like you're getting Diggs. You're getting like a top 5 wide receiver in return. So maybe you could turn around and flip like Sutton for a decent QB, which I never really want to do that. But I mean, isn't there anybody? There's nobody better on your waiver wire than Jared Goff. Like it's not. For as great as Jalen Hurts has been, as great as he's going to be this year, it's going to be hard for me to turn down a top 5 wide receiver for my QB in a 1 QB league. Unless you're in like a super flex, then I probably don't do it. But if you're in a 1 QB league, it's hard for me to turn down a top 5 wide receiver for a top 5 quarterback, just because I feel like I can somewhat make up that difference at QB, whereas you can't make up the difference in top 5 wide receiver off the waiver wire.
Yeah, I would definitely have Diggs over Hurts. As much as I love Hurts in general and this year too, you can't trade Diggs.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. All right, how about this one? James, David Montgomery or Damian Pierce rest of season?
That's a tough one. I mean, I like Montgomery. We saw what he can do as much as we ripped the Bears. Montgomery looks really good, and they're going to rely on him, obviously, because they're not going to pass the ball. I go Montgomery. I like Montgomery better, and just in general, I think Pierce, yes, he'll be the starter. He'll be the guy. But, I mean, as bad as we say Chicago's offense looks, Houston's is not any better, right? Yeah. So I still rather have Montgomery.
Yeah, me too. And look, Montgomery's an underrated running back. He looked great against Green Bay. He catches enough passes. Not anything I catch a ton, but he catches enough. I got to still go Montgomery over Pierce.
All right, here's one. We just got a super chat.
All right.
From Craig Harrison. Thank you, Craig. All right, should I trade Gibson and Godwin or MT for Derrick Henry? I mean, look, I'm trading Gibson now if I can. So to me, Gibson's almost like a throwaway piece, and Godwin, you already hurt, Okay, so I'll just start and say yes. So I think to me the question is, who would you rather trade, Godwin or Thomas? Probably.
I think I'd probably rather. I know Godwin's coming off ACL, but the fact that he was out there week 1 and like actually looked semi decent is encouraging. Like
until he got hurt.
Well, he got hurt because they should have. Like, what are you playing Chris Godwin for in week 1? Like,
well, that's true.
Need Chris Godwin in week 1. Like, come on. They might slow play him a little more now, right? Now they might have been like, okay, maybe especially now they're 2-0. Maybe they're like, okay, maybe we don't really need Chris Godwin just yet. Let's slow play him. But if he can get back and be even 80%, 90% in this offense by the end of the season, to me, he's more valuable than MT or Henry or Gibson. So that's the only thing. If it's Gibson and MT, I feel a little bit better about it, because MT, like, yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns, but he's 50 yards and 60 yards in the first 2 games. He's not going to put up huge. He's not catching 10 passes. It's just not going to happen in this offense. But Godwin, I still have like, okay, maybe Godwin down the stretch will actually be a really good wide receiver. So if it's Gibson and MT, I do it. If it's Gibson and Godwin, I don't think I do. I wasn't high on Henry before the season, and I haven't seen anything change my mind. So that's the problem here.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's almost like, who do you trust to stay healthy more, Godwin or Thomas? And I mean, to me, it's pretty close. So I would say pick whichever receiver you feel better about to keep, and then I would make that trade for either one of those guys. All right. Let's keep going. We're a little bit over an hour in, guys. We're going to try to get to all your waiver wire questions if possible, as many as we can. Guarantee we can't get them all. So again, got a little bit of time left. You want to throw in your questions, we'll try to get to them. We'll look at those super chats first. Guys, if we don't get to your question, join the Discord. You can ask there. Somebody will probably help you. It's totally free.
Yep. All right, here's an interesting trade question. Trade Brady and Pollard for Stevenson and Cousins. So it's a QB and a running back for a QB and a running back. You don't see those type of trades very often.
No. This feels very lateral to me. I mean, Brady should be better than Cousins. He hasn't been. I mean, at this point, it's almost like we can say the Minnesota receiving core is equal to the Tampa Bay one. Godwin's not out there. When he does get out there, you got Justin Jefferson, the best receiver in the league, of course, in Minnesota. Thielen's still solid. Pollard, Stevenson, I guess you should slightly prefer Pollard in a PPR league, but I don't know. This one is... I think I'd slightly prefer Brady Pollard.
I was gonna say the other side. I had Brady as a bust before the season. Chris Godwin coming off ACL, no Gronk. Russell Gage is fine. Evans is great, but that's really I didn't think this was gonna be like Tom Brady of the last 2 years, and now it's even worse. He has basically nobody. Cousins has weapons. Cousins has been okay. He was terrible last night, but Cousins is gonna be fine. He was great last year. He's always solid. Pollard is just what Pollard is, right? Maybe if Zeke goes down, then you're excited you have Pollard, but that's really about it. Stevenson kind of the same boat, but I prefer Cousins over Brady, so I'm gonna go a little bit that side. And here's another interesting one. James Conner. So Owen asking James Conner and Brandon Cooks for Breece Hall and Christian Kirk or Drake London.
Give me the Hall Christian Kirk side. I mean,
Yes.
Christian Kirk, another guy, I'll say I was wrong on Christian Kirk. I thought he would be solid, decent. Of course, he's not going to do what he did the rest of the year. He's not going to go over 100 yards, have 10 catches every week, but I did not think he would be targeted nearly that much. So, and then, we both love Breece Hall, especially over James Conner. So I'll take Hall and Kirk.
I agree. I'm with you on that one. Truth teller. Am I crazy for dropping Chase Edmonds for Garrett Wilson? He's got Kamara, Dalvin Cook, and Jeff Wilson.
Not at all. I mean, it seems crazy to not chase Garrett Wilson right now. I mean, again, you don't want to read too much into 2 weeks, but when a receiver comes out and shows what he's capable of, his first 2 games ever, don't doubt him. So just, Edmonds is not an absolute must hold, especially if Mostert's going to be involved, which we suspected. It's just worked out differently than we thought. We thought it might be one week 60-40, the other 70-30. We didn't think it would be all or nothing each and every week. So that's actually going to be more frustrating. So not crazy at all. You should do that.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson has potential to be huge. So let's see, looking for more waiver or trade questions. All right, how about this one? Should I trade Dalvin Cook for Joe Mixon in half PPR? So which one do you prefer in half PPR, I guess is the question.
I think it's got to be Mixon. I mean, this new offense in Minnesota is not, feeding Dalvin Cook quite as much. And Mixon, I'll just say it again, he's been more involved as a pass catcher than I expected this year. So I'll take Mixon.
Yeah, me too. And you know what concerned me a little bit last night? Alexander Mattison getting more run than he ever has before, right? Usually it'd be Madison would maybe get a few snaps a game, and that would be no, he was getting run. He was getting receptions last night. He was getting carries. I was this is more Madison than I'm used to seeing. This is a totally new staff, totally new offense. You can't just say, oh, it's same old. No, it's not. It's totally different. So yeah, I take Mixon. Let's see here. All right, how about this one? Kamara Riley asking Kamara and Sutton for Swift and Ertz. Which side do you want?
It's interesting because you're, talking about a tight end. I mean, if you're getting Ertz, probably because you need a tight end, I'm guessing. In a vacuum, not knowing your whole roster and everything, all the details, I would like to have Swift and Ertz because we talked about Kamara. I'm not crazy about him this year. Sutton, I think, will be really good, but yeah, give me that elite running back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm going to assume you need a tight end if you're getting Ertz. So that probably helps your team. And then Swift, a huge upgrade over Kamara. I do really like Sutton. I would hate to have to give up Sutton, but I think in this case, I'd do it. Yeah. And then another interesting one here from Riley. Kamara, Sutton, and Hurst. Interesting. For Kelsey, Cooks, and Dobbins. So you're getting a big tight end downgrade. Probably a wide receiver upgrade. And a huge running back downgrade. So which one do you like?
Well, that's an interesting one. In this case, I'd probably go Kamara, Sutton, Hurst.
Yeah, I think I agree. Just because Dobbins to me is like not like he doesn't even impact this trade to me. Hurst, yeah. I mean, he barely impacts the trade. I do prefer Sutton over Cooks. I do like Cooks, but I think Sutton will be better. And I mean, yeah, Kelsey Kamara, that's kind of close, but you probably want to take the running back. So, yeah, I prefer that side.
We're getting a lot of people wondering straight up. Let me see if we can find the original one. Start sit question. We will answer these, by the way, guys, on Saturday. I know we're not going to be on too much longer tonight, but, of course, Saturday we're going to be on for a while. Did 2 full hours last time, and we still didn't even get to all the super chats, much less all the questions, so we're going to extend it. But I think this one is worth asking. Colin asked, and Ace Man also asked, Jeff Wilson or Zeke this week?
Only because it's Denver is making me lean Zeke. I just don't see Jeff Wilson doing a lot against Denver. Maybe Zeke finds the end zone, so I'm going to go Zeke this week over those guys. But I don't really love it. It's not like I'm all excited, but yeah, I'll go Zeke.
Yeah, you don't love either one, but definitely a better matchup for the Cowboys. Yeah. Zeke could score against the Giants.
Yeah,
he's at least getting touches, so I'll go with Zeke. The leading rusher for San Francisco is still Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, and it probably will be after this week too.
Mm-hmm.
Right, how about this one? Do we think Amon-Ra is a sell high right now?
You would think so, but he keeps surprising us, and he keeps getting fed targets. Look, and I mentioned this last week, and at some point, you can't deny when a quarterback just loves and favors a specific receiver. I mean, just realistically, is Cooper Kupp the most physically gifted receiver in the NFL? No, not at all. That doesn't matter. Matthew Stafford trusts him. He knows how to get open. He's a great route runner, but it's that chemistry, the breakfast thing. We make fun of it. But there's something there. There's a reason why he always targets Cooper Kupp. He knows where he's going to be. They have that connection. That's how Jared Goff apparently views Amon-Ra St. Brown. He even said that. So he's going to keep getting peppered with targets. So I don't sell him right now at this point.
No, not unless you can get an absolute stud, top 5.
But I'll trade you Jamar Chase. He's about okay, fine, but
but other than that, no, don't sell high.
No.
And then how about here? Are we dropping Adam Thielen for Garrett Wilson?
That might be tempting. I hate to drop Thielen at this point. I mean, I don't think he's washed or anything. And, it was a bad game. They get the Lions this week. This might be a really good game for Thielen. And in fact, you did mention Thielen on one of our videos. Didn't you?
Did I?
Or maybe it was just in the start sit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to assume that if you're dropping, first of all, there's nobody worse on your team that you can drop than Thielen, but if he's the worst player on your team, I'm going to assume this is a very shallow league. So I'm going to say yes, because nobody will probably pick him up then. If it's that shallow of a league that you're thinking about dropping Thielen, I'm going to say okay. But I'm really just going to say there's nobody on the end of your bench who's you could drop instead.
Yeah. I mean, look, in most leagues, you don't need to have a backup defense. If you have a really, really good tight end, you don't need a second tight end. You don't have to have a second quarterback. Of course, every league's different, but yeah, I hate to drop Thielen, but I mean, I guess, yeah, if that's your worst player, then maybe it is a shallow league. So that's a good point.
Yeah. All right, a tight end waiver wire question. Another one from Jack. Higbee or Logan Thomas in half PPR? Who are you grabbing off waivers?
I think it's got to be Higbee because Logan Thomas has been involved, but there's 3 good receivers ahead of him. So he's just not guaranteed that target share. Higbee, I guess, because really after Cup and A-Rob, like what else do they have? They don't. Van Jefferson's still hurt. Like they don't have a 3rd or 4th receiver that they really trust. That's why Higbee's getting a lot of attention. So I think Higbee.
Yeah. And I have a feeling I know how to answer this one. What about Claypool for Garrett? Do you drop Claypool for Garrett Wilson? Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Bye-bye. All right. How about this? This is taking it too far, I think, but let's see what you say. Drop Allen Robinson for Garrett Wilson.
No, you can't drop Allen Robinson. I mean, even if he hasn't broken out, he's still a really good receiver. No, don't drop Allen Robinson.
You have to have somebody worse on your team than Allen Robinson.
I was going to say.
Almost certainly, unless you're in like a 6-team league or something, you got to have. And then maybe Garrett Wilson isn't even the best pickup off waiver wires if you're in a 6-team league. Like, who knows who's out there? Let's see.
Here's a softball. Would you trade Miles Sanders for Javonte Williams?
If you're getting Javonte Williams, do that right now. Look, Javonte Williams may get shut down this week because it's the 49ers. The Broncos offense hasn't looked good. But if he does, every one of you who's listening to this right now, every single one of you, next week, go try to trade for Javonte Williams. Everybody who is hearing this right now, if he gets shut down this week by the 49ers and doesn't score a touchdown, doesn't do anything crazy, go try to trade for him next week. He's going to be the best buy low out there for sure.
Definitely.
Here you go. CPAT for Josh Jacobs. This is a league-changing, league-winning, earth-shattering trade right here. Which one do you want?
Give me Patterson. Because you know what? He's going to be the RB1 for Atlanta for whatever that's worth the rest of the year, probably. I'm still saying it. By midseason, you're going to see Zamir White pop up, and you're going to see a little bit less of Jacobs. So I'll take Patterson.
Yeah, at least Patterson catches passes, so I'll take Patterson too.
Okay, here's a really sad, it makes me sad question. Drop Julio Jones, yes, or DK Metcalf for Olave.
I mean, definitely, you can absolutely 100% no-brainer drop Julio Jones for Olave.
Yes.
We're getting close to drop DK Metcalf, but he does have a good matchup this week, so I wouldn't quite do it yet. Maybe he scores a touchdown, does a little something, and you can trade him. But, yeah, definitely drop Julio Jones for Olave, yes.
Yeah, definitely do that. Man, pour one out for DK's fantasy value this year.
All right, Jeremiah, should I trade J.K. Dobbins for James Conner?
Yeah, not crazy about James Conner, but I'd rather have him than Dobbins.
Yeah, I'd much prefer Conner over Dobbins. At least Conner's only dealing with a little ankle sprain. Okay, this is going to test you from Derek. I feel like he asked this just for you. Do you trade Tyreek Hill to get Devontae Adams and A.J. Dillon?
Well, look, we already kind of answered this because we were asked straight up, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. It's still Devontae Adams. You're going to get Adams. Wait, you're going to get Adams and A.J. Dillon for Tyreek? Absolutely. You have to do that. I mean, come on. Even I would.
You got to do that. No, you got to do that. I just put that up there because it was Tyreek. You got to do that.
All right, we'll put this one up here. It works. So you got my attention. At the
all right.
Assuming that's the Mexican flag there. You know, both of us have spouses of Mexican descent.
Yeah.
Hey guys, should I trade Kenyon Drake for Dontrell Hilliard?
I mean,
really?
Sure. Like it just both you can drop. You could make the trade and then drop them. I mean, like neither of these guys really need to be rostered. Like, isn't Hilliard on IR right now? Or is he just?
Well, I know he was hurt. I don't know if he's on IR. Is he?
Did he not go? I know he's hurt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, trade Kenyon Drake for a pack of Tic Tac, sure, because he's not going to be worth anything in a week. So
yeah,
yes, do that trade.
Yeah, I mean, do that trade, but like, I'd honestly rather go to the waiver wire and see if there's somebody I could stash. But All right, I think this might be too much too, but we're getting a lot of Garrett Wilson pickup questions. But would you drop Dameon Pierce for Garrett Wilson?
No, I don't think you can drop Dameon Pierce. I mean, even if you don't need to start him or you don't love him, and I don't love him, I mean, you probably get something out of him as a trade piece, and he's just going to get better. So I don't think you can drop Pierce.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to drop a running back who's getting all the carries, even if it is Houston. He's a good runner. It's not like he's bad. So I got to think you have to have somebody else you can drop for Garrett Wilson. Like, Dameon Pierce can't be your worst player, and if he is, then Garrett Wilson might not even play for your team.
It's so hard. You can't look unless you're in a shallow league. The running back, you can't replace that value on the waiver wire. There are no running backs to pick up on the waiver wire that are worth starting. Maybe not even holding on to. So no, don't drop starting running backs for wide receivers or anything.
And then here's where we're at. DK is on James's waiver wire, but do you drop Allen Robinson to get DK?
No, I definitely have. Look, I had Robinson ranked higher than DK before the season started, draft wise. That's not going to change. So no.
Yeah. All right. I think this is. Do I continue to roll with Kirk Cousins? I know a lot of people worried after last night, or do I pick up Mariota, or Goff?
Well, yeah, this week you definitely want Kirk Cousins because he's got a great matchup. You know, I mean, not just that he should bounce back, he will because it's against the Lions. So yeah, go Kirk Cousins.
He will bounce back, and I like Mariota this week. He's got a good matchup. Goff, not so much, but yeah, definitely don't worry about last night. Kirk Cousins will be great this year.
Well, here's an interesting one: Curtis Samuel for Etienne.
Never thought I'd say this before the season, but I'm keeping Curtis Samuel right now. I don't see how Etienne increases his role. Like, I just don't see it. Like, maybe he becomes more of a pass catcher, but I don't see he's not going to be a 15 plus carry guy with James Robinson there. So all you're really banking on here is a James Robinson injury, which sure, I mean, it could happen. He is coming off a serious injury. It always increases the risk. But he's looked fine so far, so I got to keep Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, you really can't trade for Etienne. I think Curtis Samuel not a bad choice because especially if you pluck them off waivers and you're trading for a guy like that, you think that might be win. But man, I mean, it'd just be hard to do because you just might be left disappointed that you got Etienne, you got nothing. Yeah, in the long term.
Let's see. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer for us, but how do you feel? Garrett Wilson or Tony Pollard off the waiver wire?
Yeah, it's Garrett Wilson because I said, with running backs, but Pollard's not the RB1 technically for that team, and he's not like a must-start guy. So I'd go Wilson.
Yeah, I agree. Wilson, sorry.
This one, someone offered me CMC for Sutton. I would get CMC.
Look, I love Sutton. He's my guy, but I'm taking CMC.
He's smash. That's a smash, right? Where's the smash button? We need a little thing, smash accept.
We do. We need a little smash accept. I mean, I know CMC hasn't had that huge ceiling so far, but it's only week 2. I got to take CMC.
All right, I think we got time for a few more.
Yeah, we can do a few more.
Here's a tight end one. Do you keep Cole Kmet?
No. Pick up either of those guys. I mean, I know Irv Smith had a nice game last night, but that's also what's going to happen when Justin Jefferson is in a tough matchup and the team has a tough secondary. And Kirk Cousins is like, nobody's open. Let me just throw it to Irv Smith. But going forward, I don't really like Irv Smith a lot because there's a lot of pass catchers here. But either one of those guys, I've dropped Cole Kmet for any tight end on your waiver wire, honestly. Any tight end. Anyone.
You have to, because the thing with Kmet is some people were high on him not because of what he has done, but because of what we think he might do. And we are now seeing that he will not do it. He has done literally nothing. It's getting worse, not better. There's no reason to keep Kmet. I mean, I'm sure at some point maybe he'll catch a pass and score a touchdown or something, but there's no reason to hold him. You need a guy who might actually do something. I kind of prefer Logan Thomas at this point because the Washington passing offense is a little bit more prolific than we thought.
All right, Chi-Town has the number 1 waiver wire. Tua and Garrett Wilson available. He's got Russell Wilson. Who does he grab? Or does he wait, not use his number 1?
I think you got to go for Wilson. I mean, I know Russ has looked bad and Tua is amazing, but this week, even if Russell Wilson does disappoint this week, which he definitely could, I mean, I think we both have bust predictions for him this week. But look, long term, I think Russell will be fine. He will be startable at the very least. And Garrett Wilson, that's a guy that's the kind of player that the number 1 waiver claim is made for.
Yeah, exactly. But this shows you this is the perfect example of how quick narratives change. Coming into the season, nobody liked Tua. After week 1, nobody still liked Tua. Now all of a sudden, everybody loves Tua after one monster game where they had to throw the ball like 50 plus times because they were getting blown out. Like, this is what I'm saying. Don't overreact to one game because he's got the Bills this week. He could go out there and like throw 3 interceptions and do nothing because not because I like Tua, but this matchup is brutal. And Russell Wilson could go out this week, throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, which he's done against San Francisco before, and suddenly everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Russell Wilson's great." Don't overreact to 1 week. You could definitely use that number 1 claim on Garrett Wilson for though. Like Pierre said, that's what the number 1 claim is for: is to get a potential difference maker like Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Do we have any more here? Scrolling down.
Nelson Quintana, drop Etienne or Stevenson for Mostert. No, Mostert's not better than either of those guys.
No, I'd still gamble on one of those guys, either through injury or something, because even if Mostert gets the job, if it's like his job, like what are we really gonna get from Raheem Mostert? Like, at least Stevenson and Etienne have potential upside. Like we know they're good players. Not that Mostert's bad, but he's just kind of like, right? We're getting a lot of Mixon trade questions now. So Gibson and London for Mixon. Getting a lot of Mixon trade.
I don't get that. Why is anybody trading Mixon away now? If you have Mixon, you draft him probably.
Again, this just shows. Like, don't overreact to 1 week.
He's never done it before.
Yeah, week 1, Mixon was great, and everybody's like, "Yeah, Mixon." Week 2, he still gets a ton of touches, but he doesn't do anything with them, and all of a sudden it's like, Mixon. You gotta look deeper, right? You gotta look deeper. Like, is he getting the touches? Is he getting the usage? If he's getting the usage, he's getting the touches, the points will come. And Mixon is getting it. He's definitely getting it.
Mixon.
Yeah, and yeah.
Definitely. A couple of quick hitters here. Drop Edmonds for Garrett Wilson. Yes, I say yes.
Yeah, we said yes to that one. Yeah, we did that one.
Okay. We got a lot of Pitts questions, which is not surprising. This one is kind of a surprising question. Trade Pitts in a defense.
Yes.
For Mark Andrews.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like
get Mark Andrews. Yeah.
You're getting like a top 2 tight end, and every week difference making tight end. It's the Rams. It's a defense. Like just go stream defense. This is the easiest position to stream every week, and then definitely have to do that. All
right. I think we have not. Yeah, you definitely do that. Great. There's a super chat here. I don't think we got to this one. Casa, thank you again. Flex. So here's a start set question: London or Kirk? I mean, I can't put Kirk on my bench, and London gets the Rams.
No, London gets Seattle.
Oh wait, that was last week.
Yeah, London gets and he was great against the Rams. London gets Seattle. Kirk, the Jags get Jags have a tough matchup this week.
Jags get the Chargers.
Yeah, that's secondary. I know Kirk has been awesome, but so has London. London has been awesome, and it's the Seahawks. I mean, it hurts to put Kirk on my bench, but I think I have to do it.
Well, I think part of it's because, again, I keep going back to this. I think that they now feel like they have to go to Pitts, and they'll actually try to get Pitts involved.
But even still, I mean, are we expecting 10 targets for Pitts? I mean, I hope. But are we expecting like a 10-target Pitts game?
the other thing is we also got to think about this because we look at it and say, oh, Atlanta, Seattle has two bad defenses. It's two bad offenses. Also, this could be one of those really kind of boring, drag out, low scoring games. Atlanta isn't going to have to like keep the foot on the pedal all game to try to keep up with Seattle. So we just might not see as many passes thrown in general. Jacksonville's going to have to pass again to keep up. So I'm going with Kirk. I really think until further notice, I got to keep Kirk. But also game script to me might favor that passing game. And then, yeah, someone's asking start Christian Kirk or Darrell Henderson. To me, it's definitely Kirk.
That's definitely Kirk. That's definitely Kirk.
All right. Any more waiver wire questions? That's kind of what we're focusing on, guys. We're seeing a lot of start-sit questions. We will definitely try to get to all those on Saturday. Don't forget, we're going to be here for maybe even up to 3 hours, as long as we can, Saturday evening.
Yeah, 3 hours.
To try to answer as many of your questions as possible. Of course, we wait because we'll get a lot more information by then, guys. Injury updates, practice reports, things that change from now until then. So you probably want to wait. I get you set your lineup early and you have to go back to it. Don't just set it and forget it because things change. A lot of things change. We didn't know Gabe Davis wasn't going to play until the very last minute. He wasn't even on the early injury reports until I think it was like Saturday. So Saturday evening, Jonas starts sit. We'll do as many questions as we can then. Got any last minute waiver wire questions? Hit us up right now. Of course, you got trade questions. Well, Chris does 2 trade videos now: buy low, sell high, and of course,
don't forget we have 3 start sit videos coming out, and our first one drops right after we get done here. We're going to drop that one. So if you have start sit questions, go check that out tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening. We got 3
I was going to say those videos will answer a lot of your questions probably too.
Yes. I don't really see any more like waiver wire or anything. You guys, a lot of trade, but maybe it was this waiver wire. I'm trying to scroll through here.
Would you drop Mooney for Garrett Wilson?
Yes,
I mean, yeah, you have to.
Definitely.
Oh, I mean, come on. You pick up Rachaad White for Pacheco?
Yes. Rachaad White is a Leonard Fournette injury away from being an absolute every week start.
Would you drop Ramondre for Curtis Samuel?
Yes, definitely.
I'm guessing this is a trade question. Curtis Samuel for Breece Hall?
I'll take Breece Hall. I'll take Breece Hall because I think Curtis Samuel will be good this year, but he's not going to be a league-winning type guy, I don't think. Breece Hall, I think, can be a league winner down the stretch. So I'll take Breece Hall.
Yeah, we were both big on Breece Hall preseason, got a lot of him. He does, hate to throw out that term. I always say league winner, but he does have that breakout potential. I mean, he's the number 1 running back of this whole class, drafted for a reason. So, yeah, Breece Hall.
This must be a very shallow league. Pick up Dameon Pierce over Garrett Wilson. Dotson also still on the wire.
I mean, kind of in a different way answered this. I would rather keep Pierce over Wilson. Look, if Dotson and Wilson are out there, you don't really have to worry too much about your picking up a wide receiver, right?
Maybe nobody will even pick up Wilson. But to me, having a running back, it's just so hard to find running backs. So there's going to be other wide receivers breaks out. We might have Olave have a huge breakout coming up. Dotson may still break out. Like there's going to be other wide receiver breakouts.
I want to get your thoughts here. I thought about including him. I talked about Jacoby Myers. What do you think about Nelson Aguilar? You read anything in the last week?
No, this passing attack is going to be so bad. I mean, look, he'll probably be fine this week because he gets the Ravens, right? Ravens? No, is it? Yeah, Ravens, right? Ravens this week? Yeah.
Yep.
So we know that defense is a mess, but most weeks this passing attack is just going to be so bad. Jacoby Myers are nobody for me in New England.
I mean, that's the thing. Okay, I almost want to say with Aguilar, it's like, yeah, he made that one amazing play. It was a great play. Like, if you didn't see it, he mossed him for real. All right. And Nelson Aguilar is not a tall man. That was a great play, but that wasn't like a 70-yard touchdown. That was, I think, 44 yards. And he somehow wound up with 110 yards. So he didn't just catch that one ball. He caught these 5 or 6 passes. I mean, it was like a steady thing. And going against the Ravens, you think, well, yeah, why can't he do that again? But I'm not running out to pick up Aguilar because, he's not really ever going to get more than 5 or 6 targets because that's kind of what he's got in the first 2 weeks. He is still pretty much big play dependent. Could he make big plays against Baltimore? Of course he can, because anybody can make big plays against Baltimore these days. But I would only pick him up if you're planning on streaming him this week, and I would only do that if you're not having to bench a good player, right? I mean, it really depends.
Yeah.
This looks like a spicy one. Let's see what this is. Trade Deebo Samuel, Travis Etienne, and Dalton Schultz for CeeDee Lamb, Breece Hall, and Gerald Everett.
That is a spicy one. I think you're getting you're definitely getting a downgrade at wide receiver in the short term, but I think in the long term it'll be like it's a slight downgrade. You're probably getting a running back upgrade. I don't know how to feel about the tight end one, only because Schultz coming off that injury. I worry if that's going to affect him all year.
Yeah.
UCL injury, those things, that's what Zeke had last year, and it affected him the whole season.
Man, I mean,
I think I'd do it though, just because of the upgrade from Breece the upgrade from Etienne to Breece, the potential upgrade down the stretch. Like CD and Deebo, I don't think is a huge drop off. Like, yes, it's going to be a big drop off in the short term, but long term, I don't think it'll be a big drop off. But I think Hall could significantly outscore Etienne second half of the season. So I think I'd probably do it. I think
before the season started, I would say give me the Deebo side, because even though I wasn't crazy about Etienne, I thought he could be an RB2 for sure. Like week in, week out, he had that floor. Well, now there is no floor, and Schultz is banged up. And again, not going to necessarily miss a lot of time, but we don't know if he's going to really be 100%. Of course, Dallas, not a great offense right now. So I would still say I think you're going to benefit long-term from having Breece Hall, and CeeDee Lamb will be okay. And Everett looks like he might not even be that big a drop-off from Schultz. So I would say the Lamb, Hall, Everett side.
Yeah, I agree. What do we got time here for? 1 or 2 more?
Yeah, let's just do a couple more. Again, guys, join us Saturday for all your start-sit questions. Watch those videos, and we'll probably have a lot of your questions answered already if you check that out. We go every single game, every position. So
I want to do this one quick because if Ken Walker's on your waiver wire, how much fab you dropping for him?
I like Walker. It's a bad situation, but look, they're going to want to run the ball. They're going to need to run the ball. I like Walker enough that I would say I go maybe up to 10%. You can't do more than that because, just because the situation. But I'd go up to 10%.
Yeah, I think that's probably about. I might go like 8. 10 feels like the most I would possibly go. Maybe like 8, because I am worried like this offense, unless he completely just makes Penny irrelevant or Penny gets hurt, which is definitely possible. I don't think this offense can support 2 running backs. It just can't. Like one of these guys has to just completely pull away, or one has to get hurt. So I'm not going to go crazy for him. So 10 feels like more like 8% feels good to me.
And I'd say a lot of that too, because just looking through the waiver wires and trying to make some picks, and there's nothing out there. So you get a guy like Walker who could be a weekly starter at some point. You might as well go after him because there's not a lot of options. Like there really is.
All right, and then this one will test you a little bit because I know Jarvis is your guy. Should he drop Jarvis for Wilson?
Once again, Jarvis laundry. Love it. I know. AutoCorrect does that. Landry for Wilson. Yeah, you can do that because you have a guy who really is looking like the number 1 receiver. We both love Elijah Moore, but Wilson's the guy right now. Landry, it's going to be some weeks Olave, some weeks Michael Thomas, some weeks Landry. So, yeah, I think you can drop Landry. We know Landry is not a guy who's going to score a ton of touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. All right, how about one more? Let's find one here. All right, this one here, just because, okay, he's got Gabe Davis on his waiver wire, so obviously you're picking Gabe Davis up. Should he drop Thielen, Juju, Singletary, or Etienne? I'm going to say Singletary. I'm going to say you could drop any of those guys for Gabe Davis, but I'm going to say Singletary. It just doesn't look like, even last night, game script, everything happened the way I thought it would happen. I thought they'd be crushing him. They would just be running Singletary down the stretch. He'd get some garbage time touchdowns, and he didn't. So if he can't do it last night, then it's probably just not going to happen. So I say drop Singletary.
Like you said, everything was perfectly in Singletary's favor, and he still didn't do much. And, we will at some point see James Cook reemerge. Singletary once in a while will pop off some, decent games. You definitely can drop him for Gabe Davis.
Yeah. All right, we good?
Good question. Why is Gabe Davis one? That's where is it? Why is Gabe Davis on waivers? I don't know. That's a good question. But guys, I said this earlier. Check. Look at your league's transaction history. You never know who gets dropped. Honestly, it'll shock you sometimes. So look, somebody gets pissed off. Oh, I got Kyle Pitts. What a bum.
Yeah,
they'll drop him. I mean, it happens.
It happens.
All right. That's it for tonight, guys. But again, if you want to know about waivers, we already have that video out for you. And don't forget, a little bit later in the week, some early waiver wire stashes, guys, that you want to grab now, so that 2 weeks from now, you're not asking, do I pick this guy up? You already got him. Okay. And then, of course, we go by our start sit. Every game, every position, those videos will be coming out the next couple days. And then your trade questions. Chris has already given you a lot of options, buy and sell. So look for those videos. And of course, we'll see you back live on Saturday evening. So look for that. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, it's a pretty good time to do it. And hit that little notification bell so that you'll know every day when our new content comes out.